Good Monday morning, everyone. Welcome once again to Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports, right here on the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network. And thank you, Legend, for leading off the last Monday in August, August 31, 2020. And that means, of course, it's the trade deadline day. And we're going to spend a little bit of time this morning talking about the rumors, if you will, of what's going on out there in Trade Land USA and other points around the world. Of course, we'll talk a little bit about yesterday and some trade bait. How about the Yankees and Deivi Garcia? Rookie pitcher went 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and the Yankees sweep the Mets in Yankee Stadium. 2 games yesterday, and both go extra innings, and one was exciting, the second was even more exciting. But the thing about that is I want to talk about this Yankee pitcher, Deivi Garcia, and how good he looked yesterday. Not that the Yankees will trade him, but that it just shows, look, he's probably right now the second or third best starter on the team. Do they have a need on trade day? You better believe it. Will they do anything? Probably not. But we'll see. The talk last night, of course, was the Padres. And the Padres making all these trades. Wow. I think I'll need a player directory just to know who's on San Diego's team going forward. And so we will see how that goes. They got 4 catchers now. They acquired 2 catchers yesterday. They already had Austin Hedges and Mejia. Now they get Nola. They go out to Anaheim and make a trade. I mean, they now have 4 catchers. Look for Austin Hedges to be traded. Look for him to go to the Mets. I think that's where he's headed in a trade. Austin Hedges. Now, what will they get in return? I have no earthly idea. But, and I also, just an aside, saw Leonard Fournette this morning. If you're a NFL fantasy fan, he got cut by the Jaguars. And couldn't you just see him going to Kansas City? Like they need more, huh? So right now, the Clevenger sweepstakes are on. Mike Clevenger, Cleveland Indian ace. And I read last night, check this out. This was on Twitter. I just got to read this to you because it was just so absurd. I mean, do you think they're really going to do this? But here's a trade I read last night. The Dodgers would send Corey Seager, Gavin Lux, Dustin May, Ruiz, the rookie catcher, Peters, and Gratterall, the reliever who throws 100+ miles per hour. My count, that's 6 players to the Indians, and in return receive Frankie Lindor and Mike Clevenger. And if I'm the Dodgers, I say pull the switch. Now, I know you're giving up a lot. You're giving up a heck of a lot. But when's the last time the Dodgers won the World Series? How old were you the last time the Dodgers won the World Series? I was in my 20s. It was 1988. Fresh off the heels of Oral Hershiser and having like the greatest career of his life. And most of you guys listening probably don't ever remember watching him pitch. Kirk Gibson, crippled as he was, setting the tone of the World Series. It was 1988 when the Dodgers last won the World Series. George W. Bush Sr. was still vice president. Ronald Reagan was in the White House. That's how long it's been. And World Series victories don't come often. And I'll tell you, you put Clevenger on the Dodgers. I know May's a great young pitcher. I know Seager can be good. I know there's a lot of potential with Gavin Lux. I get it. But I know this. I know Frankie Lindor is an all-star shortstop. I know that Mike Clevenger is an all-star pitcher. And if you put Clevenger with a Kershaw You put Clevenger with a Buehler on that rotation. Now all of a sudden the Dodgers have 3 stud ace pitchers in the playoffs. Go with that offense. To me, it's a no-brainer. Who else is included? Well, the Braves have been mentioned. They could certainly put a package together. Understand that the Indians want one of their rookie outfielders. It's going to take more than just a rookie outfielder, guys, to get Mike Clevenger away from Cleveland. I mean, right now, Cleveland, let's look at the standings, okay? Because is Cleveland going to be a better team after the trade and still equipped to make the World Series? Because as I'm looking at the standings this morning, they are tied with the White Sox. Those of you remember me picking the White Sox and the Indians and the Twins third. I still believe in that. And that's the way it is right now. The Twins have lost 5 in a row. They just don't have the pitching. Cleveland, the White Sox, I think are both overall better teams than the Twins. What trade is going to continue to put the Indians in a playoff posture worthy of a World Series conversation? Right now, they're there. They have Bieber. They have Clevenger. They're pretty good at pitching. Yeah, they need a batter too. But they've got the pitching. They've got a bullpen. So I'm expecting whatever kind of trade comes back to Cleveland, if one comes back for Clevenger, with major league ready players ready to go. As we look at the standings, Tampa 24-11, the best record in the American League, winners of 5 in a row, 8 of their last 10. The Yankees sit in second place, 19-13, 3.5 games behind Tampa. And oh, by the way, Tampa and the Yankees, Yankee Stadium this coming weekend, after the trade deadline has passed. That ought to be a good one, huh? Toronto 18-14. There's 3 playoff teams. White Sox, Cleveland, Minnesota, all over 500. There's 6 playoff teams. Oakland and Houston. The only other team with a 500 record in the American League that I didn't just name is the Detroit Tigers. And they trail Toronto for the final wild card by 2 games. That's right. They've won 5 in a row. They've won 7 of 10. They've called up some young players. Detroit, not as bad as you think. And let's go to the National League for some standings. Why don't we? Where the Braves, did you watch that Braves-Phillies game last night? Okay. All right. What am I missing here? I've told you guys many times, a few years ago, I'm turning on the television on a Sunday afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. Tommy Malone is pitching for the New York Metropolitans. And he absolutely gets shelled. And so I make Malone my joke. He's the butt of my jokes. I mean, you want to enhance your stats? Face Tommy Malone. And I heard over the weekend the Braves were trading for Tommy Malone. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. But they did. He was scheduled to start. He was with the Orioles. His last 5 starts, a 3.05 ERA with Baltimore. I get it. But that ain't exactly stressful. Playing with house money pitching for the Orioles this year. Anything they do is fine. I mean, you have no expectations. The Braves have expectations. The Braves are a World Series contender. They want to advance beyond the NLDS. And so they go out and pick up Malone. Rumor has it he's flown in on a jet so he can make his start yesterday. Rumor also has it the Phillies paid for the flight so they could face him. The Braves are leading 10-0 early in the game. Arrieta's out in the second inning, giving up 7 runs. And Malone can't hold it. He gives up 8 runs in 2 1/3. He's not the answer, Atlanta. I mean, you had Fultonwicks. He's better than Malone. I don't get that trade at all. The Phillies were loving it. The Phillies down 10 runs, came back, it was 11-10 at one point. They lose 12-10, but it was almost like a moral victory for the Phillies, being down that much and coming back. Dansby Swanson's homer late gave the Braves a 2-run cushion. But in that National League East, the Braves lead the Marlins and Phillies by 3 games. The Mets by 4.5, and the Nats by 6. In the Central, the Cubs lead the Cardinals by 3.5 games. And oh, by the way, they play 5 games in 4 days coming up starting Thursday. Big games. We're 34 games in. After this week, there's only a week and a half, 2 weeks left. Only 3 weeks left of the season. Only 2 weeks before your fantasy playoffs start. Some fantasy playoffs leagues are starting playoffs this week. But the Cubs and Cardinals square off this coming weekend. It ought to be good. The Brewers are 4.5 back. The Reds 5 back. In the West, the Dodgers at 26-10, the best record in the major leagues, lead the Padres, who are 21-15, by 5 games. And San Diego's out here making these trades. They're still going to finish second in that division, I believe. Now, the one name I have not heard brought up in San Diego Padres is Mackenzie Gore. Just imagine for a moment the Padres making so far just minor changes. Their bullpen's a mess. They've got Pomerantz back. They're adding some more pieces back this week off of the IL. But where is Mackenzie Gore? Why hasn't Mackenzie Gore already been called up? Why is he not in that Padre rotation? And my question is, when's he going to be? This week. He's got to be in the rotation this week. Look for San Diego to activate Mackenzie Gore. If he's available in your fantasy league, go pick him up now. The Padres have shown over the weekend with their trades, they are all in. And oh, by the way, who do the Padres play later this week? Well, let's check it out, shall we? The Dodgers are playing the Arizona Diamondbacks. And the Padres later this week, I'm looking at Friday's schedule. When the Dodgers are playing the Rockies, a lot of games this weekend, a lot of double headers this weekend. I'm telling you. The Padres are scheduled to play the A's. And the A's are a really good team, but the A's are going to have a layoff. And I'm wondering if the A's will even be playing this weekend with the corona outbreak on their team. You know, we've seen teams go down for a week. I pretty much have written off the Seattle games between Oakland and Seattle that were scheduled to start tomorrow. That was a 3-game set. I'm writing those off. Will the A's play the Padres this coming weekend in the Oakland Coliseum? It would be a great place for Mackenzie Gore to get his first start. Number one, the A's are strikeout prone. Number two, that is a huge ballpark. I mean, foul balls in Oakland are caught. Foul balls hitting the same parts everywhere else are foul balls out of the stands. It would be a great place for Mackenzie Gore to get his first major league start, and I'm looking for it against the swinging A's this weekend. But that's one name we've not heard mentioned. And we've heard about Texas trading their starting pitching. We've heard about Clevenger. But Mackenzie Gore could be as impactful as any name you've already heard. So a lot to happen between now and 4 p.m. Eastern this afternoon, trade-wise. I'm going to just check real quick to see if there's any breaking news over the last few minutes. Andy Martino reports prices are still very high for Yankee targets, not even close on Clevenger, because Cleveland wants more than a young, controllable position player. The Yankees are in on Sterling Marte and Gossman. Marte would be a great move. Don't see any more rumors this morning of any trades that we haven't already discussed. So a lot to go over. We'll talk about the fallout of all this tomorrow morning. I'll be back with you on Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports. Not a full slate today, but enough games to keep our interest in this trade deadline at 4 p.m. I got a feeling there's going to be a flurry of trades around the 4 o'clock hour. Let's keep our eyes open, our ears cleared, and let's see what's going on. Hey, it's great to be with you this morning. Have a great Monday. I'll be back with you again on Tuesday morning, and tomorrow night we'll have some more fantasy talk, probably a little football too. How about that? So until then, have a great day from Arnie's Fantasy World of Sports and the Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports Network.